Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Modern Investing on Pod TV. My name is Sasha Starr. Today, Jim Eid will not be able to participate because of his doctor's appointment, but Mark Lee, our producer, will help me with today's program. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'd like to talk to you about very important um, um, method of explaining why, in spite of everything, market keeps going higher. And one of the most obvious reasons is the so-called passive investment idea. Where it's coming from? It's coming from the idea that all people contributing to 401k and other devices, they automatically allocate certain amount each month to the market as the S&P 500 units, and that is being done automatically, which props up the market. The only thing is that going to work forever and the market will keep going higher and higher and higher? Because the idea is that even if the market will go down, eventually all this passive investment money will keep pouring in and support market and will get it up higher. So people are getting the mentality of so buy on the dip, so the market going down, so the money are keep pouring in and the market recovers and going even higher. Is it going to always work? Two very important consideration may derail that system. One of them is obviously inflation. Inflation, especially now with this situation in a war between United States, Israel against Iran. So the oil is trading now approximately $100 a barrel. It could go higher. And so that creates inflation on all level because all products considered the certain price for transportation, and so in fact transportation index is going down these days simply because they have more or less the same expenses and profitability, but their prices for oil, what they have to pay to keep going, are going higher and higher. And that comes immediately to the second very important point is that interest rate. Interest rates, especially with US debt approaching $40 trillion, is becoming unsustainable because interest, what US has to pay on it, is going higher. And even if Fed will decide to lower interest rates, I don't think that it will cure the present problem. Mark, how you see it from your side on inflation, for
Like I
example?
said, yeah, inflation has definitely impacted a lot of people. As you know, I get around by mass transit and everything like that, but I do have friends that are driving their cars and the gas prices are continuing to go up. People are still being impacted by the price of food and all along those lines because those prices are going up, whether it's the cost of eggs, whether it's the cost of bread, whether it's the cost of a number of other things that are impacting people and all along those lines. So it all will be interesting to see how this UAE withdrawal, the United Arab Emirates withdrawal, impacts the cost of gas and other things also. But yeah, so a lot of people are still struggling and everything like that. So definitely there's prices that are going up. I imagine even the cost of wine is going up if those that are wine people and wine aficionados and things along those lines. So even the luxury goods are probably going up as well. But you can tell me better than I can because I know that you are a connoisseur of fine wines and other fine liquors, and probably even have friends that are cigar smokers and all along those lines. But I imagine even some of the luxury goods are going up, probably even the cost of cars and everything like that. So and I know that even the price of art is going up as well. So definitely we are in a tight recession. I would say it's probably a recession right now, not a depression, but the depression may be on its way. And particularly, we have some of the things that are going on that the president is proposing and all along those lines. But what's your take on that? Because definitely, I do know that a lot of people are concerned when they go to the grocery stores, and there might have been a time that they could get items for $50, $60, and now they might be in the $100 range and everything like that. So people are very much concerned about the basic necessities.
Yeah, before we go to basic necessities, you mentioned cigars. Earlier today, I went to a cigar store and I found, first of all, that Cuban cigars are no longer available in Canada, simply because of the logistics. There are no flights anymore between Canada and Cuba. So that's number one. Number two, that all other cigars became immediately much more expensive. Even American cigars, a lot of American cigars are no longer available here in Canada, but even those that are available are much higher prices. And so you mostly, you have to have some tough choices between Nicaragua cigars or Dominican Republic cigars and some others. And even those are much more expensive because they have to be distributed. Even, let's see, there is a chain of stores that is named Havana House, okay? So they're dealing with all kind of Nicaraguan and Dominican cigars and so on. But these cigars, they're coming in, they have to be distributed. So they have to be driven by truck to all individual stores. And the fuel for these trucks is now much more expensive than ever before. So all the cigars went up in price as well. So this is, it's not necessity product, but even if you go to stores to buy necessities like groceries and so on, all these prices are going up because of several reasons, and one of them a fuel cost, which is obvious and everybody understands that. And so the packages are now sort of package that before would have, say, 1 kilo of something. Now it's becoming 800 grams. So it costs the same thing as it used to be before for 1 kilo, but quantity is not the same. So you're paying higher prices. If it's still shows a price of, say, $12, so it remains $12, but but for the lower quantities, and so on.
Speaking of quality and all along those lines, Sasha, you know that I live in Durham, North Carolina, and this used to be a tobacco town, but it was also a textile town. And I know that I consider you to be a well-dressed man, and all along those lines, you usually have some nice shirts, and I think you probably even have some good suits and everything along those lines. But I just wondering, are we going to see a rise in price in our clothes as well? Because we do know that a lot of the textiles are not in where they used to be, because North Carolina used to be a primary textile place. I mean, it's still known for its textiles and for its furniture, but it's not known as it used to be when it was centuries ago and all along those lines. So I just wonder, what are you seeing in terms of the prices of clothes, since it is modern investment, and that's an investment that a lot of people do make, is an investment in their clothes, whether that's a nice suit and pants or whether that's a nice jacket or all along those lines. So I just wondering your impact in your investments with the clothing market, and are we going to see rising prices? Even you want to get, I mean, sneakers can be very expensive. I know people that like to get the name brands, and they can be in the hundreds of dollars and everything like that. But I'm not one of those people that has to have Michael Jordan on my shoe and everything like that. But I just wanted your take on the price of clothing items as a investment, because that is an investment that people have, and they need it because they might have to go for a job interview. They might have to go for various reasons to have nice clothes.
Oh, well, I'm not wearing suits very often these days. Occasionally, I have some nice suits. And now I'm concerned to keep my weight about the same, not to losing weight and not to gaining weight, because in this case I would have to buy a new suit, and it would be a major expense these days.
Right.
So far I'm doing okay, just keeping my weight about the same, so I still can wear them from time to time, and so that um, basically, I'm not spending these days a lot of money for clothing for obvious reasons, because I just don't need that for
Yeah, you
any
don't need that makes sense. You're not going for job interviews, you're retired
reason.
and everything like that. But I realized that some of my knives were rusty and I need to get some new knives. Mom was suggesting that I get a sifter, like to sift some of the lentil beans and other things. And I definitely need to get a new can opener and everything like that. And I know on this show before we've talked about Amazon and Amazon stock and everything like that. So she was like saying, if you want to get something cheap, get a new can opener. You might want to get it from Amazon. Of course, that means supporting Jeff Bezos and everything like that. But I just wondering your thoughts around Amazon as a stock, because a lot of people, they might be needing to get kitchen supplies. Like I've got to get some new kitchen supplies and everything like that, or they might need to be buying a book. We have an Amazon store here on Pod TV and everything like that. But what is your thoughts about Amazon as a stock?
Okay, I'm using occasionally Amazon, and I'm trying to not doing that if I can because of their delivery system. They're using local delivery services, and they use, in my area, they use different services. And some of them are delivering to the door, some of them are delivering to the lobby, and I have to pick it up. And some of them are not even informing me that they got delivery. So I have to go to see delivery status and check it in. And so it's becoming kind of a very unproductive waste of time. So if I can, I'm not using Amazon if I can.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like I said, I was just thinking about doing it because I do need some new kitchen supplies because kitchen supplies can get old and sometimes you got to replace them. Knives do dull and forks dull and everything else dulls eventually. So you do sometimes have to replace them. I know you're a big fan of NVIDIA. Is NVIDIA stock still strong? And would you suggest people do NVIDIA, or what are some of the other AI stocks that you think people should be getting into? I know yesterday we talked about this notion of OpenAI and Claude and even some of the other ones that are out there. I think that there's one that got various names and all along those lines, including ChatGPT and everything like that. So what is your take on these AI stocks, and are they still as strong as they used to be, or are we having, as we talked about yesterday, a bubble that's about to burst? Because we know in the past there have been tech bubbles that have burst. I know even Jim, when he's here, has talked about how he used to be there in Silicon Valley and saw the tech bubble burst, and maybe there's going to be an AI bubble burst at some point or another. But what is your take on this? How long is the AI stock going to be strong, and is NVIDIA still as strong as it used to be?
Okay, and about NVIDIA. What's happened is that for a long time there was a belief that NVIDIA is a very good company, but their stock is overpriced. It went ahead of itself. The valuations are a problem, and so on. Today, NVIDIA is probably the cheapest AI stock that you can buy based on the valuation. And I think that the stock has a long way to go. Maybe not right now, but in not too distant future. They have earnings at the end of May, and we'll see how they'll do. Normally, their reports are pretty good. Now, overall, AI is, by all measurements, is overextended, and there could be a fallout on AI trade simply because the money, especially from Gulf states, are drying up. They're no longer investing as furiously as before in AI, and without that, this the AI centers, so-called
Data centers.
data centers. Without continuous enormous investments, there could be adjustment of how many of those centers will be built, when they will be built, and so on. So this is a very nervous situation for AI trade overall. But as I said previously, the market still supports it, and the stocks are still going higher. The question is, you have to be very careful because of the inflation considerations, the interest rates, and several other factors. But listen, you don't fight the tape. If the market going higher, you just either join in and take a gamble that it will continue to go higher, as the
Yeah,
saying
that makes
goes.
sense.
there's a sucker born every minute. So there
Yep.
always, even if you overpay for a certain stock, there could be another sucker who will be paying even more money, and you will be able to sell it and make a profit. But again, timing is very important, and overall situation in the world, in the stock market, is all very important here.
Yeah, that makes sense. How important is the president and what the president is saying to the stock market? I know right now he's visiting with the King of England and everything like that, but how much, because he doesn't have a good popularity, but how much is that impacting the stock market, and will it continue to impact the stock market as we get ready to head to midterms and everything like that? So how much is what the president is doing or not doing impacting the stock market?
Well, I think the problem is that he started the war with Israel against Iran. No objectives have been reached. The problem with enriched uranium has not been solved. Strait of Hormuz is closed, and there is a naval blockade, which haven't been even before the war started. So there are new uh, negative factors affecting the world trade, and so there's kind of impasse. It's impossible to continue the war. It's impossible to stop the war. So right now, it's kind of a very strange situation. There is no war and no peace. How long it's going to continue like that? Nobody knows. Trump believes that somehow Iran, without selling its oil, will run out of funds and will collapse. That's a possible scenario. Maybe it will not be able to um, kind of survive this naval blockade. Um, but from the history, Iranians never capitulate, and they can withstand enormous hardship. That's what's happening right now. On the other hand, the United States cannot sit on it forever because the world trade is suffering tremendously. The prices for gasoline are going higher and higher, and including the United States, which supposedly has enough gasoline produced in the United States, but still the world prices are the world prices. They affect U.S. consumer, inflation, interest rates will most likely going higher than lower. So all that is becoming kind of unbearable situation. I don't think it can be like that for a long time. I don't know. In
That
a
makes sense. Yeah,
few weeks, it has to
it'll
be
be
resolved.
interesting. Yeah. Be interested to see how it plays out and everything like that. Just really quickly, I had two quick questions, and then we can wrap up in about the 30-minute mark or all along those lines. But we talked about it before, but would you invest in EVs and electrical cars? Like I said, I've got friends that are in that space. I know Toby talks about the ones that come from overseas, and maybe some people will be investing in the EV charging stations because that's how they've got to charge the stations. But I just wondering your take on EVs as a driver of the economy, and whether that's something that you would ever invest in, or is that something that is too experimental that you would not bother investing in?
Well, that depends where you are. In Europe, EVs, same as in China and many other countries, they are doing a great progress, and there are more and more the EVs on the roads everywhere. But I don't think that United States are following that suit. I think they are want to keep their gas engines going, and that would help their auto industry. But I think it's a short-sighted thing, especially with the gasoline going higher and higher. I really don't think it's sustainable, but there are a lot of politics involved. It's not just a question of availability and reliability and other issues.
Yeah, that makes sense and everything. I mentioned that North Carolina, and particularly Durham, used to be a rail town. I still see the trains go by every once in a while and everything like that. We talked about Spirit Airlines, but there are freight trains and there are trains that are passenger trains and everything like that. So I was wondering, is that something that you would ever invest in the transportation market, or do you think that trains are too far gone from the past and you would never invest in trains?
I think trains should be more popular, and I think that high-speed trains would be very popular if they would be developed. But again, because of the present policy of Trump and Republicans, they want to keep going with the traditional auto industries and keep all this utility vehicles, trucks, and all other stuff which are expensive, which are using a lot of gasoline. And that what probably is in line to enrich existing companies and manufacturers of trucks and SUVs and so on. So it's very, I, I don't think I would invest in American anything to do with cars, whether electric or gasoline or anything. Because if you want to be specific about electric cars, look at Tesla. A few years ago, it dominated all markets around the world. Today, it's just one of the manufacturer. You may say that they are creating incredible efficiencies, new ecosystems, but it's all in the future. Right now, the traditional car makers are still the kings.
Yeah, that makes sense. Just really quickly, and this is my last question for you, Sasha, and then you can tell what you've been investing in and all on those lines and let you wrap up the show because you do a great job with this modern investment show and everything like that. But, there's a lot of new sports that are coming out here. I know that there's flag football that the women are participating in. There's the USFL that's got some new rules in football. And of course, right now we're in the middle of hockey season and everything like that. I was wondering if they are those sports franchises that are publicly traded. Like I know the Green Bay Packers are publicly traded, and there are a couple of other teams that are publicly traded, including some of the soccer teams, I believe, as well, and maybe even some of the rugby teams. Would you ever be investing in a sports team, or is that too risky of an investment? Because I do know, like I said, that the Green Bay Packers are publicly invested, and a lot of the people in the city of Green Bay actually are invested as stakeholders in the team, not just as fans, but also as stakeholders. And they might be making a little bit of returns if the team does well or doesn't do well, but they're not getting rich off of it, but they might be making a little bit of a return. So what is your thoughts around publicly traded companies, particularly those in the sports field?
Well, one company that I'm following, and I haven't invested yet, but I think I could consider the investment in soccer team, Manchester United. It's a flagship of English soccer. They haven't done greatly in the last several years, but I think team is becoming stronger and stronger as we speak, and I think next year they may even fight for a championship. Yes, that one team I would invest. Right now, I'm preparing short positions on semiconductors. It's a little bit early. I'm still holding with the decision, but one particular vehicle to short the semiconductors is ETF by the name SOXS. SOXS. And if semiconductors will start turning around and will go lower, that ETF, which is effectively triple ETF, so as long as prices will go lower, the prices will go higher 3 times as much. But again, you have to be preparing that before they're going down, they may go still higher. And always have that in your mind, so that you have to have certain patience and availability of funds. So I wouldn't do it right now, but I'm looking at it almost daily, and maybe in the next few weeks there will be a turnaround because they are heavily overextended. So hopefully people will take that under consideration. But again, don't rush in it. Even if you want to invest in small steps, say you want to invest $10,000, invest now $2,000 and keep $8,000 dry for opportunity to invest more when opportunity is even bigger and higher and more profitable than it is now.
That makes sense. The show right after you will be the show that Jeff Atkin does about the hemp industry and everything like that. So I just wondering, are there any products in the hemp field, whether that's hemp drinks, CBD oils, or other things that you would be invested in? Because I do know that he's coming up at 3 o'clock. My show's at 4 o'clock, and I'm going to let you answer that question and get off camera, and then I'll end with your outro afterwards and everything like that. But would you ever invest in some of the hemp projects?
To invest in what, Mark? Sorry, I missed your question. Well, I'm not investing right now on a long side at anything. I'm just holding my positions.
No, I was asking, would you invest in any of the cannabis products or any of the hemp products or anything along those lines? So that's what I was asking.
I'm skeptical on the whole issue here, and I just don't think that their track record is anything to write home about. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe you can make a lot of money by investing there, but I don't see it that way.
No, that makes a lot of sense. We'll have to find out from Jeff Atkin. His show is coming up at 3 o'clock and everything like that. So I'm going to get ready to go off, and everything. It's always fun talking to you, even about investments. But I know that this is your expertise and all along those lines. So I will let you close out with your advice for today and everything like that. But it's always fun talking to you. But after you give your closing remarks, then I will hit the exit button and everything like that. But I'm going to pop off screen and give you the full screen by yourself and everything like that. But it's always fun talking to you, Sasha, and you've always got amazing advice to give people.
Thank you, Mark, for helping me today with this program. I would like to concentrate later on today on Fed's remark about interest rates and its direction. In the meantime, be very careful. I don't add anything to my positions as of today, and I will see which way market will turn around. Thank you very much for today's program, everybody. Bye-bye, and have successful investing. Bye, everybody.